Hey guys, Pete here, HVAC Greatness. I'm getting ready to give you the secret sauce. I'm going to tell you the thing that nobody else is going to tell you, and I'm going to deliver it in a way that you will understand. Okay, there are three key elements that you got to take into account for your heating and air conditioning business, any service business, plumbing, electrical, whatever, if you're going to succeed going forward. Guys, there's a lot going on right now. I'm talking to some of my customers about the economy, and some of them actually think this thing is going to get better. I mean, I love my customers, but if you're not privy to what's going on, it's not going to get better. I mean, just trust Pete on that. It's going to get progressively worse. Your struggles right now in staying busy, in converting, and being profitable, the problems are only beginning. It's going to get worse. Unless, of course, you make adjustments and you learn to position yourself to actually capitalize on what's going on. So let's break this down. By the end of this video, you're going to understand exactly what it's going to take. And I'm going to pull no punches. I'm not saying maybe, if. This is the way you need to do it. If you're serious and you want to succeed and you want to come out of the other end of this in one piece and be able to take care of your family, take care of your employees, be successful, you must address all three of these key elements and do so in the fashion that I'm about to lay out for you. All right, number one is your product or service. What is it that you offer? Well, Pete, I do heating and air. Okay, good. Consider your customer's perception of that for a minute. You do heating and air. So does 100 other companies within a 30-mile radius of where you're at least, or individuals. I don't just need to get that from you. Unless you package yourself in a way that I think I need to. Don't just be heating and air. You need to be something special. You need to project a higher value. How does that work? I'll get to that in a minute. The next thing is you in the house at that moment in front of the customer. Do they trust you? Do they like you? Do they feel like you're a good fit for what they need? Are you irreplaceable? So it's not just the product or service that you offer. It's also the person that represents your company in that offer. It could be the comfort advisor. It could be the salesperson. Well, Pete, I'm taking a sales training class. Good. What are you going to sell them? Heating and air? Who's going to back it? Which leads us to number three. You got your product or service, heating and air. We got you in the house talking to the customer. But you got to get in the house and talk to the customer to begin with. So that leads us to the company. Who should they call? Why should they trust your company? Are you stable? It's what your high-end customers are thinking during tough times. Are you going to be around to stand behind that 10-year warranty? You may be out of business in 3 years. Are you reliable? Are you professional? Look, in today's economy, customers are asking tougher questions. If I can get heating and air from any other Trane, if I can get that Trane unit, and guys, I was a victim of this for years. I got that t-shirt. I would sit down, do a wonderful load calculation, complete system design, select the equipment, lay it out on the proposal, and sell that Trane unit. Those customers loved it. And they said, thank you, we'll let you know. I got them convinced to buy the product, not me. What do? They went out and got 3 more Trane bids. It's not about the product, guys. It's about the heating and air conditioning that you deliver. What's special about it? It's about you and building that trust, or the person that's in that company that actually convinces. But in order to get into the door, you have to project something out there about your company that makes them want to do business with that company, so that that representative actually has a chance to go out there. All right, so what questions should you be asking yourself right now in order to fix this. And I'm telling you, if you don't fix this, you're going to fall into the background. There's too many other heating and air companies out there, and it's going to get worse as handyman can do that too. And believe you me, they will be coming out and competing with you. And they're going to get their piece. They're going to get their percentage. So what questions should you be asking yourself? Well, number one is, what's so good about you, and how can you convince your customers that you are better, that you're the better choice? Well, convincing means changing from one opinion over to another. So you have to understand the opinion they're coming in with. All right, when you consider that, how is it that people judge you? How did they come to that opinion? How do they perceive you? What makes them form that opinion of your company? You think this don't matter? It darn sure does, at least to the high-end customers. Well, people judge a book by its cover. You've heard that. They're judging by your appearance. They're judging by the way you're packaged. And if you're one of those companies that have invested in yourself a few years back, and you took your heating and air conditioning company and you created a more attractive version of that, good for you. That was the right step to make back then. But it's only half of it today. You need to do more. But you do need to be packaged properly so that when they judge your appearance, it's in the right way, and it's in a way that you have predetermined because you thought about your packaging ahead of time. Now, what causes your customers, your high-end customers, to perceive you as high value to them personally? Get that? Oh yeah, you're the great company and everything else. Somebody else can afford that, but not me. No, how do we make it personal? First of all, who are we targeting? And how is it that we create this perception, this identity, this brand, if you're starting to see this now, that people actually desire? It's not enough to say I do heating and air. It's not enough to be pretty. Pete's Heating and Air with a wonderful wrap and colors and everything else that stands out. That is a good first step. But the winners are going to go to the next level. And there's a way that you have to do this. All right, the next thing is, how can you create real change from how you're perceived now? And you know your HVAC greatness. How do we get your greatness through to these people without actually getting in their house and convincing them first? Okay, so the bottom line is we need to change the way that we are perceived. So here's some questions for you. Number one, how do you change the way people perceive you? I mean, they're going to see you and interpret and judge with their own internal processes. Number two, how do you need to be perceived to attract your ideal customers, those high-end customers? And how do you keep them and keep them loyal and become part of your customer base that you can bank on, that you can count on to run your business as you continue during these tougher times? Next is, what are the steps that need to take place to make this happen? What do you got to do? First thing to having a problem is to recognize that you have a problem. And if you're watching this, 99% of the heating and air companies out there have this problem, period. And even the big dogs have it. They haven't seen this yet. What you are privy to right now is an insight that most people don't even consider. So once you recognize you do have a problem, then you can start to look for a solution. I contend to you that you need to create an identity that gets the attention of the people you're looking for, and it gives them the impression that you want them to have. This is called branding. Branding is not a logo. Branding is much more than a company name. Branding is the way people feel and think when they look at your identity, your vehicle going down the road, your website, your advertisement, your social media. And if you can take control of that, you have something to work with. Stop wasting money on truck wraps from the local wrap guy. Stop investing tens of thousands of dollars into designers who design strictly based on being different, being pretty. You need to say something more. And that only comes from having the experience and doing the research and understanding what heating and air conditioning customers are going through besides, I just need a company out here to work on my unit. They're not thinking like that. Not your high-end customers. They're looking for underlying emotional issues that need to be resolved. And if you come across as the solution, because you've done your homework, you've considered how to be more than just heating and air, you've considered how to build a company that communicates stability and delivers that thing that I want beyond heating and air. I want to make sure my house is safe, for example. I want to know that these people out here in my house know what they're doing, for example. I want to know that I can trust them, leave the key under the mat, and everything's going to be okay, and I wasn't overcharged. The work was done right. And I've got somebody I can depend on. I'll pay more for that. Guys, it's time to revisit your brand. It's not going to be cheap. Anything worth doing right is worth investing in. So do it once. Just like your customer, they're going to buy that heating and air conditioning system from somebody. Maybe not you, because they're going to do it once and they're going to do it right. Because experience shows when you take the cheap route, when you take the easy path, it doesn't work out. You're going to have to come back and do it again and do it right eventually. Save yourself time. Avoid all the BS wrap beautifying. And build a strategy first based on this is what my customers want, even if they don't know what they want. And learn how to communicate that at the outset so that you get their attention. Learn how to communicate that in your process so that the customers are won over and you get that sale. They buy from you. And learn how to build that relationship so that they appreciate that, they keep coming back, and they tell their friends. Referrals are going to be one of the most powerful, third-party validation, one of the most powerful secrets going forward in this new economy where they can't trust what's being said anymore because people are going to resort to some pretty unscrupulous tactics to get that sale. Don't go to the sales training that's built on slick manipulation tactics. Don't go to the marketing systems that are just BSing people. We're not back in the 1900s anymore. People can see through that. You need to be the reason that they call you. You need to communicate your value. And you need to do it professionally. It's time to raise the bar. It's time to bring yourself up to the next level. And those of you who listen and apply, you are going to be okay. It starts here and it starts here. We're going to have to do some internal work and get this fixed. Make the investment, rewrap everything if needed, websites, everything. You need to be selling more than just heating and air like everybody else. Because until you do, you're just heating and air like everybody else. Pete Ramsey here, HVAC Greatness. Hope this makes sense. It's time to get this fixed now. Make the call.
This is very exciting, and because of Pete and me having the luck, if not the wisdom, to know that I shouldn't do it alone, I decided to do it right. And Pete is the right way to go, and I don't regret it, and I'm excited because we're on the verge of the big launch. Branding is not just a logo. That's the first thing we all think of is, oh, what would be a cute name for the company? What is that is that URL available? And you go through this kind of childish kind of thinking, as a business guy, even though I've been in business 42 years or so, 45 years, I still jump to that immediately. And then once you start pulling the thread on the reality of what is involved, it gets deep, and you start realizing that what I think means almost nothing, what in terms of marketing, what the impact is going to be on customers and prospects and the general public is paramount. And so if you have to design it, reverse engineer it from that point of view, and that's exactly what Pete does. And there's no way I could do this by myself. If I did, it'd be a full-time job for me for 2 or 3 years. That's why I'm here, and having the resources and the experience and the wisdom, I guess you'd say, to know that going it alone is just plain stupid and expensive. I decided to find and seek out the best people I could find to help me do it, and that's HVAC Greatness and Pete Ramsey in person. So we have had an enormous amount of success working together for the last 2 or 3 months, and we're on the verge of launching my new rebranded company. We're going to have probably 12 vehicles wrapped, within a month or 2 or 3 months, as soon as we get this finalized and I can get people to do the wrapping in the vehicles. When you're wrapping vehicles and doing all these things, it gets expensive. So you don't want to do that every other 2 or 3 months as your idea evolves. So having Pete help me get it right up front was a great bargain. Hi, I'm Rob Cook with Cook Brothers. We have a 41-year-old company in Virginia, and I have a 1.5-year-old company in Wyoming, where I currently am doing a startup. And what I've found out real quickly after seeing Pete Ramsey with HVAC Greatness on YouTube pretty extensively, I did a lot of type research like that online on YouTube. And Pete just resonated with me and became one of my favorite go-tos to watch. And that culminated into not an order, but a hiring of Pete after I contacted and reached out to him, of him becoming not only my coach for business, for HVAC business, but also for a complete branding consulting package. Just to make it a short answer, is that branding a company, especially for a new startup that I want to have a very high SEO performance and everything else when I get down the road. Obviously, I don't want to do it 2 or 3 or 4 times in a year, because it'll cost me a lot and be very confusing. So getting it right the first time required somebody with a whole lot more experience, knowledge, and competence than I'd have in any kind of marketing or branding. So I came to Pete, and Pete took the bull by the horns and basically started he has a very detailed process and procedure and steps we go through that has been going on now for a couple of months, I believe, because we've been meeting in certain frequencies, and I've extended and increased my involvement with Pete and my reliance on him, and the number of things that I've basically enlisted his help with. It's kind of a great opportunity for me to come in and be the big company, big firm looking guy starting from scratch. So that's why I'm really doing this now, because I'm not a retired type of guy. I'd rather do this, what I'm doing right now, and even doing service calls on HVAC than I would go golfing. So it's just, I'm a weird guy like that, and I'm pretty well off financially. So I'm not doing it just for the money. But I can tell you, doing it now is extremely exciting, because I can do in 2 or 3 years what would have taken me 15 years to do, or 20 years to do back when I started my last company. You don't want to do this half-baked, because it'll be way more expensive than hiring a pro up front and doing it right the first time. And that's what Pete's done for me.